Hey guys, what's up? It's Taylor. Sorry about the quality. I don't know what's been going on with my Mac, but like the quality sucks. And sorry about my hair. It hasn't been working lately, so just kind of ignore it. Um, so first of all, I hope everyone's doing fantastic and um, happy and everything's going great for them. Um, Second of all, you know, I've struggled tremendously with being gay. And I've struggled tremendously not because I think that it's wrong or because I don't want to be this way or whatever. Nothing really like that. It's just the concept of or the aspect of like my family and really like what other people are going to think and say or if they're still going to be in my life or, whatever, things like that. And recently I have come to realize and just like understand that not every single person is going to accept, certain aspects of your life, and not everyone is going to agree with things that you do in your life, but that doesn't mean that you have to like stop doing those things or not be a certain way because you don't want to like upset others or you don't want to have to deal with like what everyone else is going to think. But like I guess growing up, in a really like Christian home and just like being taught like it's wrong to be gay or like it's sinful and an abomination or whatever, and like playing a pretty important role in the church, like with being in the youth group band and like trying to be like a good influence for like my peers. You just like have all of this like pressure that resonates within yourself, and you just really doubt yourself, and you kind of just put like your feelings behind, and you kind of put like what you want behind because you just want to please others or like make sure like no one's uncomfortable and like everyone's happy. And personally for myself, like that is my number one priority, is making sure that like everyone's happy and everything's good and there's no drama and there's no complications, and no one feels uncomfortable. Like I just truly want everyone to be happy and like satisfied, and I never want to be the cause of pain or someone upsetting someone or whatever. Like I never ever want to be the cause of that, and like I've struggled with that a lot and always just trying to please others. And after so many years of doing that, I guess like I just hit a point where I was like, dude, like this isn't fair. Like I have to live life for myself. Like I mean, as harsh as it sounds, like who cares what other people think, because like I have to do what's best for me. Like I have to do me. And I look around and everyone else is doing their own thing and everyone else is doing what makes them happy, and they're not caring about what other people think. And like you know maybe that's just the difference between me and them, but like personally I am just so tired of always worrying about what everybody else is going to think. Like should I, do what's best for me? Should I do what makes me happy? Or should I just kind of sacrifice that to please everyone else? And no, I shouldn't. And I shouldn't have to. And that shouldn't even be an option or something that, like, I constantly think about. Like, that's not fair, And my whole thing is, and I know I'm going to have a lot of people that are going to watch this and they're going to disagree, and they may comment or say hateful things or maybe not say anything, but like have their own thoughts and opinions that they withhold, and that's fine. To each their own. I'm not sitting here trying to force anything on anyone. I'm not sitting here trying to make anyone feel bad, and I'm definitely not sitting here trying to be like, you have to accept me or whatever. Like, no, that's not it at all. It's the fact that I just want to openly express like my view and like my thoughts and my feelings and my opinions, and like maybe that'll help some people I know that are struggling with it kind of like deal with it better or whatever. Like for me, like I am a psych major and a counseling psych minor. And so for this semester, I have been taking like all my classes are psych classes, and one of them is human sexuality. And it has really like opened my mind a lot. And like I had to write a paper that's due tomorrow, and it was about like your family's views and values of sexuality. And like I really got in depth about it because it just really hit home, and it's like made me think a lot. But you know, I grew up in a really Christian home. Yeah, my parents weren't, married or together or whatever, but both of them, wanted to, serve the Lord. They wanted to live a godly life. And so whether I was at my mom's house or my dad's house, I was going to church. I was living in an environment that was focused on being godly and, following the rules of the Bible and whatever. And so I went to church all the time. I played in the church band. I always went to church events, Winterfest, church camp, whatever. I was there. And I loved it. I loved church. But it seemed like every single time I was in church, someone was preaching about homosexuality. And it was something that was just constantly there. It was so prominent in my life, and it was just always brought up. And I never understood it. And for me, now looking back, I know like I took it very personally because I didn't understand it and I didn't necessarily agree with it, nor did I necessarily know what any of it meant. Because when I was younger, I never knew what being gay meant. I never thought I was. It just wasn't something that I thought about. I was, very active, and I was too busy to think about things like that. And, more specifically, I was taught against it. So, why would I ever deliberately be a way that I'm told not to be because it's sinful and will send you to hell and all this stuff? Like, of course, I'm going to divert from that path because I don't want to live a life like that, especially being a people pleaser. Anyway, my point is, growing up in the church and being taught all of these views and these values and all these lessons and teachings, and playing such a big role, church playing such a big role in my life, and the way I was taught and raised, it just makes me laugh when people say that it's a choice. Like, I understand some circumstances are different. I understand, like, the girl, there's a girl that has just dated guy after guy, and he's just been jerk after jerk, and she's like, whatever, I'm just going to date a girl. And, like, that's not genuine, and it's not sincere, and chances are that's going to be a phase. And it also makes me laugh when people still to this day say that I'm just going through a phase. I'm not just going through a phase, and I want to make that very clear. This has been something that has been huge in my life. It has played so much significance in my life, and a huge role. Like, I can't make it clear enough that this is not a phase. I can't make it clear enough that this is not a choice. It's not. And I say that very, very passionately and very firmly because I was taught every day that being gay was a sin. I was taught every single day that being gay was disgusting and looked down upon, and love is to be shared between a man and a woman, and marriage is to be shared between a man and a woman, and children are to be shared between a man and a woman. I was taught that every single day. Every day. And I was told that if I was ever gay that I would be disowned. So why in the world do people think that I deliberately chose this? Why do people think that I deliberately was like, I'm going to go against everything I've been taught, and I'm going to just be gay and live this life that is so hard. I'm going to make this choice and struggle through life and have everyone judge me and get to a point where I don't even want to live anymore, and get to a point where I don't feel worthy or loved or good or accepted or anything. Why would I deliberately make that choice for myself if it was a choice? Maybe, I, didn't always know that I was gay because I was taught that it was wrong. It wasn't even something that I allowed to cross my mind because I knew you're not allowed to be that way, so don't even think about it. But when I dated guy after guy and I never connected, and this is very important. I'm going to move because the lighting sucks. My hair is so gross. This point is extremely important, okay? I dated guy after guy, and I let my self-worth and self-esteem just freaking fade away because I did not understand what was wrong with me. I genuinely thought something was wrong with me. Why can't I connect? Why don't I like him? Why does it make me sick when, he wants to touch me? Why can't I get there? And, I just thought, okay, maybe I'm just not into the guy. Maybe, he's just not my type. So, then I date another guy, and it's the same thing over and over again, okay? And then I meet this girl, and I am just, so mesmerized, and, everything just clicks and makes sense, but I can't let that happen because it's sinful and it's an abomination, and I'm not allowed to be this way because no one's ever going to accept me, and no one's ever going to agree with it, and I can't allow it to happen. So you know what happens then? I start to tell lies. I start to live in a secret. I, withdraw from everyone that I'm close to because I can't let them know, and I don't ever want them to start to wonder or guess or, have all these suspicions, so I just lie. And I then have all of this bitterness and this anger towards these people that I care about because I can't tell them what's happening. I can't tell them how truly happy I am. I can't tell them anything that's going on in my life because they don't agree with it. Or, they're not going to accept me. So then I live this secret for so long, and I have absolutely nobody there for me. I literally had absolutely nobody there for me. And I got to a point where I couldn't even look at myself. I got to a point where I would go to church and I just felt like everyone was just staring at me. I just felt like I was such a horrible person. Like I would never be loved. Like I would never be accepted. Like this is who I am, but I can't be this way. And what's the point? And I mean, this is extremely serious stuff right here. Like I genuinely didn't know what the point was because I didn't have anyone there for me and I couldn't tell anyone what I was going through. I mean, I went through a horrible breakup, but once again, nobody knew. And when you connect with someone so deeply after all this time of thinking something's wrong with you and not connecting, and then you do, and then you're so happy and you're so excited and you are so full, and then you can't share that with anyone, and then that part of your life ends, and then you can't tell anyone. I mean, imagine what that would do to a person. And so for me, it was this just downward cycle. I mean, it started off with the lies, it started off with the secrecy, it started off with all of this thing, and it just transpired into this extremely negative self-image, an extremely negative situation. I mean, I was cutting myself, I was thinking about suicide, I was thinking about how I would do it, I was thinking about all of these things because I was hopeless. I didn't feel like there was any point because if I ever told anyone what I was going through or what I had discovered about myself, they wouldn't be there for me regardless. So what was the point? Why don't I just save everyone, the sorrow and just get it over with? And that was something that I dealt with every single day. Every day I dealt with that. And it got to a point where I couldn't even get out of bed. I didn't see the purpose. I didn't have any friends. I withdrew so hard because I didn't have anyone in my life that truly knew me. No one truly knew me. I was being this person that everyone thought they knew. I was being the funny, outgoing, hyper, quirky Taylor that everyone thought they knew. And, you know, no one really knew what was going on. And that was the worst part is, all right, I'm going to wake up today. I'm going to put a smile on my face. I'm going to put up this fake energy, and hopefully no one will ever notice what's really going on. And it got so bad that my mom intervened, and she demanded to know what was going on. And I will never forget that day. I will never forget it. And as most of you know, my mom is a huge, 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 huge part of my life, and an extremely positive influence in my life, and I love her so deeply. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would be making this video right now talking to all of you. And if it wasn't for her and her unconditional love, I don't know how I would have ever made it this far. And anyway, so it was really bad, and my mom she knew that something wasn't right. And she tried so hard. She tried so hard to just be there, and I wouldn't let her be there. And I think that hurt me even more because she's my best friend, and I couldn't tell her. I just wanted to scream and get on my knees and just hold her and just tell her everything, but I couldn't bring myself to tell her. And it took my mom finding my cut up wrist and endless amounts of bracelets that I still wear. I've been cut free for a very long time now, but I still wear these because that's how I hit them. And she somehow, she knew, and she saved my life. And she put me in counseling, and I resented her for that, but that was only for a short amount of time because counseling truly transformed me and allowed me to open up and slowly but surely come to terms with myself and realize that I'm not a bad person, and realize that everyone is different in their own way. And it's a harsh reality to know that who you are isn't accepted, but on a broader spectrum, on a more positive scale, it's the most important to truly accept and value yourself. And with time, others will come around. And I can say that firsthand because I never in a million years thought that I would have the support system that I have. But I come from a family that has extreme unconditional love. And this is the take-home message from all of this. Just because a person or persons or people do not agree with your lifestyle, just because they don't agree with your choices, does not mean that they don't love you. And it took me so long to understand that. I have children right now. It took me so long to understand that I was not alone. It took me so long to understand that I did have people that were there for me. And still to this day, I struggle with it. But I know in my heart of hearts that I have people that are there for me and that love me regardless. And it's still hard for them to understand, and it's still hard for them to agree with. And, you know, honestly, they may never agree with it, but that does not take away the love that they hold. And my stepdad was not for it, and he still isn't for it, and that's okay. But I struggled with that because he was very harsh about it. But in his harshness, he made me a better and a stronger person. He made me value myself and accept myself even more. And you may wonder how, and I'll tell you, he is a type of person that wants you to be honest. He wants you to be truthful, and he wants you to be real with yourself and with other people. And there have been times when I would rather stay away because I didn't want them to see that part of my life. But what changed the most for me was when I swallowed my fears and I allowed myself to present myself in the way that I am and who I truly am. And in that, I have grown tremendously because it has taught me that my family and my parents are going to be there for me through thick and thin. And I know that for some people, this is extremely hard to hear, and they're never going to understand it, and they're never going to agree with it. And I'm not asking you by any means or telling you that this is something that you have to accept or agree. I just want you to understand that this isn't a choice people make. Maybe it is for some, but for me, it's not. And I would not have put myself through all of the heartache and all of the depression and all of the insecurities and being alone and feeling like I wasn't worth living if this was a choice. And I want to make that extremely clear. And I still struggle with it today because I just want to please everyone. But there comes a time in your life where you have to do what's best for you. And doing what's best for me is being myself and hoping but not expecting that in return people will respect that and understand that it's still me. I'm still Taylor, and it doesn't take away from who I am as a person. And it's really a sad reality to know that people draw back and see you differently when you finally have the courage and the strength to stand up for who you are. And I just want to thank my friends and my family that have truly been there for me through it all, whether they agree with it or not, but put that aside to show me unconditional love, because if it wasn't for that unconditional love, I truly feel that I would not be here today talking to all of you. And I hope that this video has brought some kind of compassion and understanding on the topic and really just brought enlightenment to others. And I hope that this isn't disturbing or disrupting for others, but I hope rather it's eye-opening and realizing that even though people are different, it doesn't mean that it takes away from who they are inside. It doesn't change their heart and their values. So thank you for your time and your understanding, and thank you for listening. And I hope the best for everyone, and I hope that if you're dealing with something you don't necessarily agree with or you're having troubles with, that you can really allow your mind to expand and rather thinking about yourself, really think about the other person and what they've had to go through to get where they are today. Thank you so much. Have a good night.